Good morning. When my friends from NVIDIA did that fantastic video, I thought I don't have one, so I thought I'll do this by doing the song and dance myself. And your little chuckle reminds me that it's probably not a good idea, a problem that even AI shouldn't be solving. So I'll leave that song and dance out, but I think there was one common thread across from the morning since Sri started and the friends from Pricewaterhouse and Citibank and then after that from NVIDIA spoke a lot about what we are trying to do with AI and how I thought Sri's speech was very philosophical and deep and talked about how it can actually make an impact. We in Tech Mahindra, I don't know how many of you know of Tech Mahindra, but I thought I'll just put together one little slide which says what kind of a company are we. We are an IT systems integrator, or rather we call ourselves a systems orchestrator. We put things together, so all the stuff that you heard, whether it's H2O.ai or whether it's NVIDIA's fantastic processing power with the speeding up of things, and I love the analogy, Shankar, about driving and doing from 0 to 100. I'm from India. We are not allowed to drive more than 0 to 30, but would love to get to 0 to 100 someday, and hope AI will help us. But just to give you an idea that that's what we do, and our brand statement pretty much communicates what Tech Mahindra does for a living. We connect. We live in the connected world, and we connect the dots. So we deliver connected experiences. And what I'm going to talk about today is really how about democratizing AI. What does democratizing AI mean for us? How do we make sure that we are able to build together solutions that are deployable at scale and can make a business impact? And whether we are making a solution or we are building a set of skills, the biggest challenge I think in front of AI is that it seems to be blocked under a very niche bunch of skills and capabilities, and sort of could be the biggest constraint for us in order to scale the opportunity with AI. So obviously AI has achieved some absolutely incredible feats, things that you just saw in the last example of the car dropping the grocery, or to the big challenges of healthcare that are being solved. I know H2O.ai as a partner of ours with whom we work are doing some incredible work with ER as well as with some solving of some of the major diseases. And we've heard that from a lot of partners and a lot of areas in AI. And it's talked about a very, very important future, a future that's about delivering value, about delivering promise, and above all, incredible hope. And I think I at least belong to that school which believes absolutely positively about the impact of AI. But having said that, there is this whole challenge of what AI has brought in as we start talking about these amazing use cases, this super skills on data scientists, and the importance of mathematics and modeling has brought in limited adoption. So if you look around, and we do a lot of work, as I said, almost 70% of our business is with Fortune 2000 companies. There are a large number of customers around the world in 90 countries that we operate in. But we don't see the kind of adoption that we should have seen. We don't see the kind of impact of AI that should have seen. Yes, it's improved over the last couple of years, but the serious impact of what businesses would stand up for and say, hey, this made a huge difference in the way it worked, is still limited to only a few. And this data point here that I think we should all focus on, which is the largest companies, for example, these are companies that people like us have been servicing for years, with at least 100,000 plus employees, are the most likely to have an AI strategy, and yet less than half have one. So obviously, people are confused about how to leverage AI, how to make sure that we can actually scale AI, and we can use, and we'll have the ability to build on some of these experiments and some of these absolutely brilliant ideas that people are coming up with. And this has led to a limited confidence. For example, we have availability of integrated solutions that you don't have data on which training can be done. So that becomes the biggest challenge. So yesterday, Sri and I were chatting about how the conversation has now changed from big data to small data. How we could probably turn around things of, it would be great when we have huge humongous amounts of data on which to solve the problems, but a lot of times we don't have that kind of data to make those problems be solved. So we have to bring out models that can actually solve problems which are with limited amount of data. Look at the time, 1 year or more average time for value realization. Now in today's fast world, for businesses to recognize that value over a period of time of a year becomes a huge challenge for them to justify the kind of business cases. So every corporate guy then runs around trying to build a business case for how much money to be invested for AI and some of the new technologies for scale. And therefore, impact on AI is limited to productivity and cost. So a lot of the times we build up an automation, and a lot of the times AI helps reducing stuff that was going to be done in a mundane way by human beings and translate that into more an active replacement through AI. And that's great benefit, but it's only solving one side of the problem, which we in our parlance call businesses need to solve 3 key problems. Technology needs to solve 3 key problems for businesses. One is to run, which is to run it efficiently, which obviously AI does today. Second is to change. So change the business to be able to address what is needed for the future. And the third and more important and the tougher part is grow, which is allowing businesses to leverage it in order to create new business and new revenue streams, new products, new services. And that's the area where it will start to make the impact on business. So obviously this led to a lot more confusion because human minds, as you know, we all understand linear logic. So simple answers like, why did my mortgage get not approved was because of a following reason that my credit history was bad, which was something that we all understood. But the back end of it, where it sort of connects all the dots together and makes sure that it works together, is what makes the difference happen. So the challenge we have in this process is that there is a huge amount of lack of trust. And therefore, I think the discussion that I wanted to have with you folks here in the room today is how does an enterprise scale AI for creating a business impact? What do businesses do? And what do technologists around the room, our jobs be, enable businesses to be able to scale AI so that they can deliver value to the business and therefore to the boardrooms. Before we do that, I think it's more important to know where AI can't yet provide value. And I think this is an interesting graph because it sort of shows you what level of AI adoption do industries have as a percentage of companies, and what is the future AI demand trajectory. And you must have seen it in Shankar's slides and in other slides as well. All slides come from McKinsey. So these guys on research have done some extensive work to come back and tell us that the biggest challenge of industries that are falling behind versus leading sectors. And that way, London is a great example because a lot of the businesses here are about financial sectors and what they do in terms of moving services from proof of concept to really about scale. We today heard a lot about the word about models and a lot about simulation. I thought I'll give you a model here on what steps to apply as use AI beyond automation. And these are the 6 areas that we think that will have the biggest. You need to put that together for your own businesses and see how AI can actually help build the model together for you to drive benefits from AI. One is on process and product. Second is on identifying all touch points that enhance a customer experience. If it is not, then we have to question whether it's actually going to make an impact to our customer, be it B2B or be it B2C. Identification of end-to-end enterprise process gaps. So what are the gaps that we have in our processes? How does AI enable us to fulfill it? And is it scalable enough for a future state? So today's environment allows a certain amount of experiments to work on a business process. When the business process scales up, whether it moves from 1 market to 20 markets, or whether it moves from serving one set of population to about a 10x size of population. Will this solution work? Will this work at grade, and will it work at scale? Then an integrated view. Can we create an integrated view of data at every level? So we talk about omni-channel and so on and so forth, but how are we leveraging these data points across to be able to make sense to drive AI forward? If you're not able to integrate these data channels, then you're again dealing with multiple sets of data points, which will never help you create an AI solution that can solve the problem. And finally, the building blocks of technology, which are available to create the right experience. Are we using the connected systems, therefore, to be able to bring the data points to make meaning out of it? If all these 6 points are followed, then we can actually start looking at creating a culture where we think both of these things need to work together. A man and a machine establishing a bond here to work together. And I thought AI is the biggest example of showing how we can bring these two things together, and have to bring these two things together in order to make AI make sense to the business. The 3 things that I thought would be important here. Look at effectively in your own organizations, apply change management, which is an important part of being able to work with the people that are currently working without an AI environment. How do they work with an AI-based environment? What would the cultural aspects of those be? What should they expect from a machine? And what should they be able to deal with in order to be able to drive the value of this? And which means a lot of other things, which means an open AI culture, which means crowdsourcing of capability. All these are easy words to put in, but very difficult words to implement in an organization. In our own organization, where we have about 120,000 people, all of them are engineers. It's extremely difficult for people to learn that now this part of the work does not need to be done by us. It can be done by AI-enabled software, be it a chatbot or a robot to start off with, or an integrated cognitive data modeling that we can put together. But one needs to therefore upskill themselves in order to be able to service it. Each of those aspects become absolutely important for businesses to succeed and to adopt what I think is one of the biggest challenges, which is an open AI culture. An open AI culture is really a digital workforce, not limited to your own organization. And we've learned it the hard way that you've got to embrace an ecosystem. Partners like H2O.ai, NVIDIA or IBM or any of the other guys that are actually speaking here, all of them come together to what we have coined a term called collaborative disruption. If you don't open up the culture in the company where you can allow people to come together and build solutions on your environment, on the data points that you can actually provide, we will not succeed in embracing a culture which is AI. I thought I'll take a few examples of what we have been able to do with a few of our customers and how the journey started, so that people who are here from both sides, who are implementing AI solutions with customers, and those businesses who want to be able to put it into scale, understand how to put this together. One of the things that we've learned, and again, this whole conference is about AI and modeling, so this is by no means the only model, but this is some of the models that have worked for us and are possibly replicable. So in this case, a wealth management customer in the US, and we worked with them from starting off very simply by putting together the broken processes that they had disparate processes in there, and we put together an AI strategy around that. We then set up an AI COE for them, which basically focuses on all the data points and touch points there, and moved from back office down towards first solving the basic problems. So the biggest story for us has been always about give people back something that they can see fast and easy. So to my point, which I had made earlier, of saying that if it takes a year-long process to solve a problem and get the biggest impact, no one has the patience to be able to live through it. So you've got to create either a smaller solution problem which at least automates and brings value back in terms of efficiency. To our model of run, change, and grow, the run parts needs to be sorted very, very fast. And that's what we did here. Then we applied design thinking to it, enabled what our AI thinking model is called, and then we called product roadmap. And we actually ended up with a use case or a problem, or a product called Rita. Rita takes into account for this wealth management company allowing it to make predictive analytics on the basis of what investments what individual needs to make, and they then start offering it based on all the data points that we've been able to cover. So what it started from a very simple robotic analytics based solution has now ended up being a predictive model on being able to help them sell better products to their investors. Similarly, right here in Europe, I think we've worked with, and I think somewhere along the line, we gave away the name of the company by the bot that we mentioned there, is a retail RCG company which produces volumes of products that we all consume on a daily basis. And it started from, again, doing an RPA or an NLP bot and going across from redesign and integrating voice-based solutions to what was implemented in their IT space as an S-bot. So the journey, I think, is more important than trying to solve the problem at one go. But without an AI strategy that is being deployed in every company, we are going to be very limited success of trying to build an impactful AI. And finally, I think right here in our company, we've sort of deployed the same set of solutions within Tech Mahindra. And we've created an AI COE which actually solves problems for bringing efficiency back. When you're running a business in 90 countries, when you have 120,000 employees with 60 nationalities, there are enough issues that one needs to look after. And therefore, one of the things that we have used effectively is building that AI strategy which actually takes into account things like NLP, things like machine learning into the whole process, and have therefore built automation in everything, whether it's our finance operations, in our marketing operations, and in our HR. And in each of these areas, significant business value has been delivered to the company first. However, these are areas in which each of them have a journey, which, as I said, is about bringing efficiency, changing the process, and then doing more, which is the bigger, tougher part. And that's what we've been able to achieve here. I'll leave you with a few thoughts that I think are important. Similar to H2O.ai's philosophy of democratizing AI, we, along with H2O.ai, have created a layer here. This one was jointly created between Tech Mahindra, AT&T, and the Linux Foundation as an open source platform called Acumos. So while H2O.ai allows you to create the models, the solutions, and the use cases, this is really an open source marketplace which has all the library of all the AI use cases and platforms that are being created across all our partner bases. And this allows our customers to pick and choose and see how they could use really like a drag and drop model. And this is an open source model which we've, as I said, have dropped with Linux. Botify is an internal process that we ran, and I think I brought it in here because I think it's important for all of us in our businesses where we run. Our biggest challenge is to ensure how do we reskill our people, how do you make sure that every process within the company thinks about an AI-first strategy. And this is what we did, where we did a 360-degree approach across all our employees and partners to bring that together. Finally, I think something that I'm absolutely proud about of making the biggest impacts that AI can do on society. So this summer in California, with the Global Climate Action Committee, Tech Mahindra launched what is called as an AI for Action, which will now come to about 16 cities around the world for solving some of our biggest problems that actually matter for us and our next generation. It's about solving the climate problems. And we are trying to make sure that every city carries this, and Tech Mahindra is going to be the key partner with our platforms and what H2O is doing to allow local communities to come together with solutions, leveraging AI to solve some of these problems. Thank you very much. You've been very patient, and thanks for giving us a chance to talk to you. Thank you.